5th of October. Let's get started. Pause your players here, read to the bottom. If you agree, hit that play button. Summary for today, the short-term long signal continues. This is in day 2. The intermediate term signal is off. We are inside the ribbon, and you'll see that on the next slide. And it is about to move long if we continue upward. The long-term signal is starting to transition to a long signal also, which is good. Paper trades, of course. Nothing here is a recommendation to buy or sell any security. The GEX ratios have moved up a significant amount. We think it may be too late to enter a long position at this point, as we generally like to see entry below a GEX ratio of 0.6. Positive GEX has moved up from 4,200 yesterday now to 4,400. Fairly significant move. We're seeing a lot of calls go in way up at the higher level, and we're also seeing some profit taking at the 42. The 0 DTE transition is well defined today. Right here at the 55, 37, 60 level, we're above it. If we slip below this transition, that we may see some additional puts go in, and that could pull us down, so just be aware of that. Tomorrow's 1 DTE, which is a Thursday, looks terrible. That's all we can say about it. We're not seeing anything one way or the other. Last note for you, if you stop here, is that the transition range is tightening, which is good, but we remain at the left side, which means that we have a considerable amount to plow through to get to a, what we would call a call-dominated or positive gamma regime. The bulls are running out of time. If they continue to churn at this left side, even though it's tightening, and move us to the other side of transition, we think we could be in jeopardy here and see a potential failure here in the next few days. So just be aware of that. We like to see the tightening. That's good. But we also need to see progress through, and we're not seeing it. The market model, as I said, we had the initial signal 2 days ago, and here we are at the end of day evaluation. Looked pretty good. Yesterday, railroad track up, we crossed into the historical moving averages, which is kind of a view of where we've been in the past. We've tested this quite a bit, and typically when we see this type of behavior, it tests fairly well. And so right now the intermediate term signal is in full cash because the cumulative tick is inside the ribbon. And you can see if we get a continuation now at end of day here, if we get a continuation up, we could actually break above this thing, which would be quite bullish. It would also turn the intermediate signal to the long state. That being said, just be aware that we could also have a reversal, and if we see a reversal, we would want to hold above this slowest moving or this fastest moving average, the red one right here. If we break below that, things look pretty dire, and this would be a failed breakout on the bullish side, and would be a signal to protect any profits that you may have that are on the long side. As I said, the index GEX ratios have moved up. They've moved up quite a bit. If you compare this to yesterday, and I would urge everyone to go back in time and look at yesterday's presentation, we put some stuff up on Twitter also that would be useful for you to look at. You can see that the VIX has come down and that everybody has moved up a dramatic amount. We think it might be too late to get in at this point. We typically like to see entries when we're at the lower level. We've tested this extensively, and kind of the blanket range is below 0.6, and obviously if we can get lower, that's always better, because if you do rebound back, you get more of a gain. That being said, just be aware that we are advancing, and we are watchful now of a potential pullback in these numbers or a continuation to the high side, as you can see. Taking a look at the GEX levels, they're relatively unchanged. We are seeing deltas improve in the PM settled complex. On the AM settled complex, or the combo complex, excuse me, over here on the right hand side, we're seeing that dominance at 4,000. We are also seeing relatively unchanged numbers. I don't know why I didn't print, but the 4,400 is the new positive GEX, should be sitting right here, and that moved up from 42 yesterday. On the 0 DTE, as I said, 0 DTE normal range roughly, and the GAC's expiry. Note that today's expiry is positive. We have more call based gamma coming out than we have input based gamma. Typically when that happens, we might see some downward pressure. Be aware of that. The dominant expiry today is 37.75. If we drop below that 37.75, we'd be looking for the 37.55, 37.60 range, which is a very clean transition. And below that, we start entering into a negative gamma or a put-dominated gamma regime, and that could accelerate us down, especially on these short-term puts that are going in. The expected move is shown in the blue lines, and we do not think 3,900 is in the stars for today. Just be aware of that. On the 1 DTE, a lot of noise, 2 transition ranges. We've got a dominant expiry in the middle here, bottom line here, very ill-defined. This is suggesting we have a lot of free range above us. I doubt we're going to get above this and push aggressively higher into the close today. We could. If we get a lot of call buying, it could actually propel us upward and we could be positioned, but I'm just not seeing it at this point in time. Taking a look at the combo complex, 31% or so of the SPX expires between now and the monthly. That's fairly significant. That's roughly 1.8 to $2 trillion that has to get reallocated around. Where it goes is going to be materially important. To the upside, we're looking at the 38.30, 38.35 as a key range, possibly a stalling area in there. If we go all the way up, you can see the expected move ranges to the higher side and to the lower side. We are watching this 37.60, 37.65 range. If we fall below that, could have an issue. And just note, if you recall, that's in that same range of where the transition is for today. So we are watching that fairly carefully, and we want to make sure that we don't slip too deep into this, or we could have some issues there. So be aware of that. Taking a look at the overall structure, when we see this, you can see 3600 is negative GEX, POI. This is growing relative to where it was yesterday. We're sitting right here. Here's that transition zone that I was talking about. We keep button up against the left side. We have not been able to progress, and even if we do progress, the structure is not really conducive to moving forward because you can see we've got a lot of hiding places in here. We did move from 4,200 to 4,400. Even though price came up, you would expect this to grow at 42. It did not. We saw the 44, and that was because we saw some calls coming out at 42, and we also saw effectively calls going in at the higher range. Doesn't mean we're going higher, but it does mean that people were taking the opportunity to any convexity that would exist. They are taking the opportunity to buy those calls that are up in strike. So with that, I'll leave you. If you like today's commentary, let us know, please. If you have any questions, let us know. Come into the Discord. You get there by going to GammaEdge.us, click on the pricing tab, fill out the blanks, and come on in. 14-day free trial, all the tools turned on, no risk to you, great group of traders, a lot of fun. Would urge everyone to come in. Follow us on Twitter, please, GammaEdges with the S. And then here on YouTube, if you like today's content, let me know by smashing that like button. It gives me immediate feedback. And of course, follow us, because as you do, you'll get notified when Taylor posts, and when I post, and when Michael posts. So with that, I will leave you. Have a great day. Hope to see you in the Discord. Thanks, everyone.